All right, the two biggest problems that all Etsy sellers have is traffic and sales. Without traffic, you can't get the sales. Well, how do you get the traffic? Well, today I'm going to give you 5 strategies to help you get more traffic now and in the future, in 2026. So if I was at the end of 2026 and I had to come back in time and tell you what was going to be the biggest traffic influences, this is exactly what I'm going to talk about in this episode today. And probably the 5th one that I'm going to talk about is probably going to be the most important. It's getting huge right now. So let's dive in. So the first one is frequency. This is big because just like with content, just like with if you're going to do website SEO, or you're starting your social media, or you're starting a YouTube channel, frequency matters, and these platforms and the algorithms reward frequency, because if you are consistent with updating your Etsy shop, updating your listings, adding new listings, being frequently showing up and actually giving the algorithm more information, it's going to reward you with traffic, because you're rewarding the platform. You're showing the platform that I am being consistent. I'm constantly adding stuff, new and fresh stuff, and that keeps Etsy new and fresh, right? They don't want a dead platform. They want people constantly adding new stuff, adding stuff that people want, adding variations of stuff that people want. So if you are helping the platform in return, is going to help you. So frequency does matter, and the algorithms reward frequency. So show up. And this is the same, if you are with anything, really with anything, with a website, with social media, with any sales channel, eBay, Poshmark, the same thing applies to all of these channels. If you start and you're being consistent, you're being frequent with adding content, adding whatever to these platforms, you're going to slowly start to see, a traffic increase. But the minute you get stagnant and you don't do anything for an extended period of time, you are going to start to see the same thing happen in the opposite direction, or at a minimum plateau, right? It happens across the board, no matter what you're doing. If you're watching this video on YouTube or listening to the podcast, if I don't add new stuff for a while, my traffic is going to die. My traffic is going to wither away. Same thing with my Etsy shop. If I don't add new listings or tweak old listings or make updates frequently, my traffic is going to die. And a lot of the live sellers I talk to, they hit a downward trend. Their traffic is flatlined, or their traffic is year over year down. And I'll ask them, when's the last time you added a listing, or when's the last time you tweaked a listing? It's been a month, it's been 2 months. That's why. That's one of the biggest reasons why. Sure, there's going to be ebbs and flows. There's going to be outside factors that impact traffic. But you have control over the frequency of showing up and keeping your stuff fresh and being engaged with the platform. So frequency is really, really important. So just make sure you're consistent with showing up each and every week. You don't have to show up every day. Of course, that'll help you. But be consistent. Show up weekly. Show up as much as possible. Treat your Etsy shop like a legit business, and it's going to start to reward you. Number 2 is the SEO Juice Loop. So I just made up this term because I think it's pretty catchy, pretty cool, right? But this is the loop that is, if you stick to this and kind of think about it in this way, this is going to help your traffic too. So all of this stuff kind of plays, it plays kind of together. So let's just diagram this out. I'm a visual learner, so that's why I like to do this visual concepts. So when you think about getting traffic, that comes from what you're doing in your shop, that comes from what you're doing in your listings, and all that stuff connects together, or it should connect together. So you have to think about it like a loop, like a connective loop. So people are, when they're coming to Etsy, right? They're coming to the platform and they're typing whatever keywords in search, or they're searching on, they're searching on Google, or they're searching on ChatGPT, or wherever. It starts with the search, wherever they are doing that, right? And then from the search, they are finding listings, hopefully your listings, right? And how they're doing that is the search is connecting with the data, the keywords, the stuff that's in the listings, and that is connecting to the listings. And then listings should connect to other listings. Now, how are you doing that? Well, in your listings that you're doing, in your description, you should have internal links, relevant links to other listings. So this link, usually it's like complimentary or accessories, or like items. You don't want to have too many. So this is going to link. So maybe you have a necklace and you should be like, hey, would you like the matching bracelet? And you drop a link here and then it's going to connect to this listing. Or, hey, would you like other necklaces? And then you include a link to that. So that's connecting it to your other listings. And then your listings are connecting, to your shop, because people can bounce from the listings to your shop. And then basically from your shop, it connects back to other listings. So that's kind of the search loop, and that's how you connect everything together. And if you, actually missed a part. So from your shop sections, so you should have curated SEO-friendly shop sections. So on the left-hand side, you can put all of your listings into sections, and also the keywords do matter. So they could go for your shop to see these sections to your other listings. So that loops everything together. And you can see how you can break this loop up. If you don't have shop sections, you're not getting that SEO juice. It's not as user friendly. If you don't have internal links, this breaks the loop. Now, sure, there are related products Etsy does put your related products at the bottom of listings. So that does help. That connects everything together as well. And the better your shop's curated, the better you set up, product lines and like stuff, that's going to help Etsy curate this and keep the buyer engaged and bounce to your shop or other listings as well. But internal links help that. The other thing, and it helps get you link juice, because it's all, if they're bouncing from your listings to other listings to your shop, that's link juice. That helps your overall performance. Now, the other thing is, they're coming to kind of like the reverse of this is if they're coming to your shop, all the SEO data in your shop matters, your shop sections, your about section, all that stuff. And then, of course, you have those shop sections as well. So they're going from your shop to possibly your shop sections to possibly your listings. Again, from your listings through internal links or related items, they could go to more listings. And then from there, they could go back, to your shop. So all of that is connected together, and all of that SEO juice kind of helps everything connect. So the better you are, really at the name of the game is curating your shop in a buyer search intent friendly way, but also in an SEO friendly way. Because if, not to kind of beat a dead horse with this, but if you don't have shop sections, you're losing that SEO juice, you're losing that curation. Your listings, if you have listings that are all over the place, and this is one of the problems with like the trend-based shops where it's like, okay, maybe this one, maybe this is a shirt, maybe this is a painting, maybe this is a necklace. Okay, so they land on the necklace. You have no other necklaces. So what are you going to internally link to? Nothing makes sense there. What is on your listing at the bottom? What is Etsy going to recommend? They're going to so this is a necklace. Etsy's going to recommend a painting and a hat or a shirt. You know what I mean? Like nothing's related. So the chances of them bouncing and being like, oh, wait, they have a painting, and then I'm going to go to this painting, it's not going to work. It's going to be broken. So that's why you got to curate your shop, target it towards a specific niche, and then everything kind of plays together, links together, where it makes sense to help get that SEO loop flowing. All right, so hopefully that made sense. But all this stuff, really the key is everything in your shop, everything in your listings matters. No matter how small it may seem, it all matters. So take it the extra step, take it the extra mile, do it right, add in the information, and think how you're curating that stuff, because that signals the algorithm, the quality of your shop, the quality of your listings, and all that plays into more traffic. A lot of people are like, well, I'm doing all these things, but you're missing the little pieces, the little things. And the little things start to impact, the big things. And I know SEO can be a little bit, of a struggle for a lot of sellers. That's why inside my VIP community, I do help you guys out with SEO, with suggestions, with fixes, with tweaks. I help you out with trends. And mainly it's just a positive, supportive, motivational place to go, hang out, have fun. We're doing the Etsy Traffic Challenge right now, which is just a real fun way to stay consistent and get some extra training. There's courses in here. I do one-on-one coaching calls with all new premium members, and then obviously I do group training as well. The goal is just to help everyone get closer to their goals and not be alone on their journey. And it's not some weird spammy Facebook group where people are trying to get your bank routing number. So check it out. There's a link below. And a lot of this stuff I help you out with, inside there on a much deeper level. All right, so the third one is listing quality. So some of this I did talk about in the previous step. All the things in your listing matters. And when people are looking for you in search at the beginning, the most important part, is going to be your pictures. Your SEO, your title, and your pictures matter the most. So if your pictures aren't good, just look at your competition. Look at their pictures. Look how well they're done. They're clean, crisp, visually appealing. So traffic starts in search. If your pictures are not good and your SEO is not good, first of all, they're not going to find your listings. And second of all, they're not going to click into your listings. So a lot of people, the very front end matters. So the first image and then this first bit, of your title, that matters. So just make sure you're looking at that first. And then the other parts of your listing matter as well. So all of the components, everything in your listing should be filled out. So you should have an SEO friendly title. You should have, there's 20 picture spots now. Make sure you have as many of those filled as possible. Make sure they're not redundant. Think about your pictures as just another way to get people information. So pictures can be additional information, not just pictures of your product. You can have ordering instructions. You can have, shipping updates. You can have care instructions. You can have a lot of stuff in there to help curate and sell your item. So this is a way to sell your item, and it's a way to add value for your customers. Your description matters more so for SEO because a lot of people don't read these, but it should be curated, easily skimmable, all the most important information. And most importantly, from an SEO standpoint, you should have lots of really good SEO, naturally flowing SEO keywords in here, which helps buyers find your item. So this is a very good description. They did actually a really good job here. And then, of course, internal links to other listings to keep that SEO juice loop flowing. And then, obviously, your tags. You should have high-quality tags. Fill out all the tags. All the attributes of your listing should be filled out that apply, right? Missed attributes mean that you're going to be missed. If you could be filtered out of search because people can add filters when they're searching. If you don't have attributes, that can hurt you as well. And then, of course, you want good reviews. That reviews will take time, but reviews matter and help a lot. So quality, spend the extra time, do the listings the right way because listing quality matters so much. A lot of listings I go and look at, people are struggling and they're half-assing their listing. We want to full-ass our listings, right? We want to take the extra time, do it right. Now, of course, you get started, you're going to do things wrong. You're going to mess up things. You got to put in the reps. You can't just show up to the gym once and be swole, right? You got to be consistent. You got to be putting in the reps, and that is going to help you get better and better and better. And see, again, compare. Not to feel bad about yourself, but compare with your niche, other shops in your niche. What are they doing? And the question you should always ask yourself is, how can I do it a little bit better? How can I do my own stuff better? But then how can I do a little bit better than the competition? There's always ways to improve. There's always ways, no matter how small, to make things better. So listing quality matters so much to search. And again, the more people that start to click into your listing and engage with your listing, it's going to help it show up more and more and more. So it's going to be a little bit of a snowball effect. And then that's going to help your other listings as well, from an SEO juice loop as well. The fourth one is keyword research, right? So this is a missing step. Got to do keyword research, and I wouldn't just leave this up to AI. You can ask ChatGPT to give you keywords and stuff, but it's not based on Etsy's data. It's based on all the data out there. So we want to do keyword research specifically for the Etsy platform and curate it for the Etsy platform. So I use Allura. There's a link below for a free trial. There's also eRank, which is pretty good. There's also Everbee. Those are probably the top three. Plus, Etsy has Marketplace Insights now inside the Stats tab, which you can do keyword research. There's like a free version, but if you want the full version, you got to do Etsy Plus. Either way, we need to do keyword research because we need to make sure that our keywords that we're using have demand. And without demand, you're not going to get any sales. So you got to make sure, are there keywords that you can use that have demand? Does your product that you're trying to sell have demand? If not, you're going to have a really tough battle. Now, there are smaller niches that don't have as much demand, but they're super niche down and they do really well. You don't need a lot of demand if you're super niche down. A lot of people aren't niche down that far, so you need, a decent amount of demand. You need to give yourself more opportunities to be found, and we do that by injecting as many high quality, high demand keywords as possible in our titles, tags, and descriptions, inside our shop sections, our listing sections, our about section, everywhere we can to help the algorithm understand what we're selling, who we're trying to target. But it all starts at the end of the day with keyword research. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get, the faster you're going to get. And this is another reason why having a specific niche and target audience is good, because you're going to start to learn that. And eventually, off the top of your head, you're going to already know the top keywords to use in the majority of your listings. You're not going to have to do as much research. I still do keyword research to find related keywords that I'm not thinking about, which is good, but it takes me a lot less time now. I can do it a lot faster because I have a specific niche. If you don't have a specific niche, every listing is different. The keyword research starts at zero every single time, and it's going to take you a lot more time. Not to mention, you're not going to learn your target audience that well because you don't really have one. So you're not going to be able to follow that path. It's going to be a lot more stressful. I do talk about that a lot because I think it just helps ease the pain a lot if you have a specific niche and a specific target audience. All right, number 5 is going to be huge. Like I said earlier, this was the most important one. With the rise of AI, with the rise of Skynet taking over the world, AI search, it's really, really important that we are targeting search intent, because the algorithms, the AIs are really, really targeting that. And a lot of people are like, okay, write your listings, do it for AI. No, forget about that. You should be writing your stuff for search intent and interjecting the search intent keyword combinations in your listings, because that's what AI is focused on, right? They're not as focused on the specific keyword. They do use that, and the algorithms do use that to help find the traffic. But the way that people are searching, they're opening their ChatGPT app or their Perplexity app, and they're using voice search, like, hey, how do I find this? Or how do I do this? So you have to think about your listings. How are people actually searching for your item? What are people saying? How would you ask ChatGPT to find your Etsy listing? And that's what you want to put in your listing. Not so much the title, right? The titles are going to be, there's still going to be those keyword combinations, kind of long tail keyword combinations. And then your tags are going to be, keywords that were in your title and some additional keywords. Where this really matters is in your description. This is where you can really do this well. So you can write your descriptions, but you can also include those high search intent long tail keywords in your descriptions. So how I would do this, a good way to do this is, here's like a good framework for your description. So your first part of your description is writing, this first part does matter really a lot for SEO. You should be writing, who it's for, what the item is, who it's for, why someone should buy it. in kind of a paragraph structure, and the keywords are going to naturally flow in that. And then you can write, if you have a spec section, you can write it there. If you have ordering instructions, you can write it there. Any important bits of information kind of curated so it's easily skimmable with titles, emojis, and then the actual information. So this does matter, but then you should have a section of who it's for, or why you should buy that, or why you should buy it, or who's the best, who is this the best fit for, or something along those lines. You can adjust the wording to fit, but then you could literally do bullet points targeting these high search intent keywords. And here are some examples, so I'm not just rambling on. You're like, well, what are you talking about? So like, here are some really good examples. So a regular keyword combination, if you have like wedding invitations, may be like minimalist, wedding. Pardon my writing, it's pretty terrible. If you're just listening to this, you're not gonna witness the crazy writing here. So what minimalist wedding invitation, right? That's a decent long tail keyword combination. We probably would want to introduce some more specifics depending on the actual wedding invitation, but this is just going to give you an example. So this is like, this is a decent keyword combination. It would work well in a title, but this isn't matching search intent. People really aren't searching this way. People aren't just typing in minimalist wedding invitation. Someone may do wedding invitation, but that's still so broad. Like most people they know that's too broad. They know they're going to have to be a little bit more specific. So a better example that you could put in your section, in your description as kind of a bullet point would be like wedding invitation that's simple and not busy. Let's cram this in here. So this is how someone may search, right? They don't know the term minimalist, but they know they want it simple. They don't want it busy. They don't want it messy looking. So you could put that as a bullet point. Who are these wedding invitations perfect for? They're perfect for people that want a wedding invitation that's simple and not busy. Or another example would be like they're perfect for someone that wants a wedding invitation that looks clean. So these are different ways to describe the minimalist look of it. So think about your item, and can you do 3, 4, 5 bullet points that match search intent? Because you better believe that if someone is searching this way, if they want a wedding invitation that's simple and not busy, that your listing is 100% going to show up in that search. Especially ChatGPT is linked with Etsy now, so a lot of Etsy listings are showing up in ChatGPT, and more people are going to get used to and accustomed to searching in ChatGPT because it does the work for you. Before, the old way of searching is you're going to Google, you're starting with a keyword, and then you're going to search through those examples and either do another search or hit a link that brings you to more results, and then maybe more results, or do another search. So it's very kind of cumbersome and very time consuming. People now are figuring out that you could just go into ChatGPT and you could just literally just blabber off what you want. And say it's really easy and it's really fast, especially if you use voice to talk. You could just say, I want a wedding invitation for a wedding that's coming up, in a month. That looks clean. That's not busy. That's not messy. That's simple. Someone may search like that. And if you have those keyword combinations matching that search intent, you're going to show up 9 times out of 10. The other people aren't doing it yet. They're not going to show up. They just have minimalist wedding invitation. That's not matching search intent really well. We can do a better job. So sit down, look at your listings, and you can even ask ChatGPT to do this for you too. You can copy your description, give them information, and say, hey, what are 4 to 5 high search intent keyword phrases that I can put in this description or something like that. I like to start with some of my own ideas because I like to think about how I would search, because we can't completely remove the human element out of this. We got to still introduce some humanity to this, and people are still searching. AI is just not searching for them. They're still coming up with the initial search term. So I like to kind of come up with some ideas myself, and you're closer to your stuff too. So you know a little bit more than AI about kind of your products. So I would start there and not leave everything up to AI. That's it. So hopefully that helps you guys out. Those are the 5 steps. It's going to become, it's big now. It's going to be even bigger, next year and years to come. So the better we align our shop and think about it this way, the more traffic we're going to have, and the better results we're going to have in our business. And again, if you guys want to hop over and join me inside the VIP program, there is a link below. It's a lot of fun. Come hang out with us. A lot of like-minded people. You don't have to do your journey alone. It can be a lonely journey. That's one of the reasons why I started this community, because my first couple of years were very lonely. I didn't know who to talk to about my issues. I didn't know how to have spitball ideas, and I certainly didn't know what I was doing in terms of having a strategy to grow my business. So that's what I teach in there, and that's what I want to help other people out with. So hope to see you guys over there. Outside of that, I'll be back soon with some more good stuff for you guys. Have an amazing rest of your day.